So, I think I had, because I was an adult when I approached it. I was able to just kind of go, hey, I'm gonna explore this genre for the next 3 months, and it's gonna be at work and just consistently and whatever else.
Oh, I
And
did forget that one thing we mentioned said that we would get a chance to play as Catwoman.
but
Do you want to play as Catwoman for the next, like, I don't know, 5 minutes?
well, sure.
Well, how much? Okay, careful. You
I
don't want to
don't
knock
know.
stuff off.
I don't know.
That's
how...
the one disadvantage of wired controllers. Now you get to see how hard it is to try to sustain a conversation while playing a game.
But
Because everyone who makes, if you make fun of me for like my train of thought stalling out every 4 feet, it's because it's hard to keep talking.
it's I don't think.
All I was saying is it's interesting that that was the same song for both of us, and yet it still took us different directions. Guys with guns. You might want to get off the building. I'm pretty sure you can still see you. Pretty sure you can get alternate Catwoman suits too, like from the different comic book iterations. Might as well keep going until you get to the thing. Wrap the topic up. Oh yeah, we got to do that guy.
So, any other genres specifically that you'd want to cover?
Well, let's not. I want to talk about this some more.
The bottom line is we'll probably want to. There'll be a part 3 because there's too many genres to talk about.
Well, but if I had to specify the 2 genres, I said I listen to almost every kind of music to a varying degree. But if I had to pick, I'm like, I really enjoy metal because of the, I don't know, it's just there's a certain catharsis to it. But if I had to pick a second favorite, it probably would be folk music, even if I don't listen to it as often, because again, it's sort of mood situational. I still think I appreciate it more on a artistic level. It's like I like that this exists, even if I don't listen to it all the time. I like look at that. You're gonna tell me that whip's like 100 feet long? No, sorry, we already talked about that, but that was the most egregious example of it.
That is probably true.
So yeah. Folk, I don't know that I need to go through like every genre, but metal and folk, I've talked about Unleash the Archers.
I would love to cover...
you have anyone in folk you want to talk about?
No, I would love to cover jazz, truthfully.
Well, you might have to do that largely on your own, because I'm not as exposed.
Well, you are getting exposed. I'm
getting exposed right now.
I'm exposing you.
Yes, I was hoping you wouldn't comment on it so publicly, though. Whoa! That was some Wile E. Coyote physics. She walked off the edge for a couple seconds before it happened.
What am I supposed to be looking at that? Or
no, you're looking for the little green thing in the corner. On the map, because you're trying to get back to your apartment to grab stuff.
But do I need to do any of these little?
No, because those are Batmans. Batmans are green. Catwoman's are pink, and there's not that many.
Okay, I thought I could do that.
So folk, I think we might not have enough time to start a whole new genre. So let's button up the one we've got.
Well, and if I just need to
I
leave
like
jazz
folk
alone,
music.
the bottom line is I grew up with it.
Yeah.
And so you're just now maybe we'll cover that one when we've had more
What is she
exposure.
doing?
I guess
she's doing some
She
jazzercise.
doesn't want to go up there like I want her to.
Okay. I don't know. I just think that there's some... It's good stuff. I don't know. On the other end of the spectrum, perhaps, the non-depressing end of the spectrum, there's a lot. I like Lord of the Dance by the Dubliners.
Oh, that's a great song.
After you've listened to Kill Kelly Ireland and you're like really depressed, you should listen to Lord of the Dance by the Dubliners. It's great. Or Shepherd Lad by Battlefield Band. 2 jaunty songs that are much more like, okay, I feel a little bit better.
Where's this?
You gotta get in. Okay, you gotta look carefully, because it's the arrow from the sky. The arrow in the sky. It's pointing down to you. Through there. So you gotta get in there. I think you can get on the roof of that, because there's grates and stuff. Up. Oh.
I'm sorry. That
was a blast from the past, too. I forgot about that.
There.
So yeah. I finally got the chance to, because we tried to talk about this once and we were playing a different game and it just ended up. You got to be in there though.
Okay, but what am I supposed to be?
Gotta
I don't
crawl.
know what
Gotta
the
get
actual
into the
objective is.
You're going to your apartment, which is that one. I think it's that window. Yeah, there you go. See.
Home,
there you go.
sweet home.
So yeah, it's
okay.
Oh, she's dead. Is this a whole new mission that I forget again? How much of this game have I forgotten?
Apparently a great deal. If she coughs,
then
you know she's actually awake still.
Well,
or, I mean, alive still.
Is she dead?
Is she
Hang
dead?
on. She's waking up.
Oh, see?
I forget.
What do? Kill her
Oh, well,
again.
you gotta do this. I don't remember anything about the Catwoman missions, clearly, because I just have blocked them out. Well, I guess we'll get to talk for a little bit longer, so tell us about Jazz.
I grew up
Nat
with
King
Jazz.
Cole.
so
Nat King
that's-
Cole's about as far as I've explored.
Well, and
anything that's been
here's
played
why-
in Fallout
Here's
games.
why I know. Ooh, and see, that one is a bit of, I would say, that's more 40s, like.
Well, it's a bit more big bandy. It's not strictly jazz, but there's Nat King Cole on it.
I am a smooth, like an easy jazz type listener.
You like Kenny G.
No. But I grew up with jazz, so, and I'm not the. Here's the thing.
You're not a 40-year-old man.
I don't mind Frank Sinatra, but he's not my favorite, and I say
Now
that
you're
with a lot of
talking
people
You're
probably being upset. But
Well, yeah.
I think Nat is the king.
Well, there you go.
And that the pun is slightly intentional. But
I'm not
I
even
also
gonna comment
think
So if you wanted, I'm not going to comment.
good.
You know what I mean, if you know what I mean.
The
Wait, did you get? Okay, so that's what you have to do. They stole stuff from your apartment, and it's being kept with Two-Face in his office.
So the other thing though is that I okay, that's a little high apparently. That I then end up getting into Negro spiritual through jazz, which is a bit of an interesting approach. But I found
sense, though.
Sam Cooke and some of the other kind of, and I really fell in love with that particular genre because the
Similar deal.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's got a lot more.
It's got the element of the work song.
Yeah,
there's
work song, but I think
there's a degree of a natural rhythm to those, because that's the whole point of those kinds of songs. It was meant to be like we all sung it together.
Well, it's natural rhythm, and there's a bit of melancholy that I, as a emotive person, tend to appreciate.
You're gonna, as if I just told you about a depressing song about a father and his estranged child.
That's hence why I say I think that the genres aren't
What
that undissimilar.
did you just do?
I did
That was
something.
like some Donkey Kong barrel physics. That was like, pew! You shot across the screen like nothing.
That's because I played Catwoman better than you.
I'm sorry, but physics would say no to whatever you just did, regardless of gameplay. That was absurd looking. Looked like she just cartwheeled through the air.
You just cartwheeled right through the air.
Okay, well.
Anyway, so jazz is great. Nat King Cole's awesome. If you want, man, I only say this because in jazz there is significant differences between Caucasian jazz and African American jazz, and this is
Wow.
the reason.
I think that's right up there with my
This is the
music
reason.
is culture.
Wow. This is the reason is because I would argue that really jazz was invented and primarily pushed or created and developed by the African American
Well,
community.
yeah, everyone knows
I don't
that.
think that can be really skirted, and I don't think you really should skirt it because, again, the whole reason I ended up getting introduced into Negro spiritual was because it has such a tie to that scene, and so with that being said, I think that there is a degree
Where are
of
you
rhythm
going?
and
There you go.
well,
it's a sort of
they
work song.
they understand the more nuanced side of jazz, especially smooth jazz, than I think the Nat King Coles and the Dean Martins will ever really get.
You're
Some
going
people-
you're going a different direction, because I was thinking you were going to talk about like the what you call it, the work song rhythm aspect, because I think
Yeah,
there's a degree of
huge
the
part of
communal,
that.
like you all saying it's a similar. Oh, Catwoman
Well, it's also the
That's for
difference
you.
between like
on the
where
ground. We just passed the trophy, the pink ones for you.
I think that's also the difference in people
it's-
being raised within like a religious context. In that
In the East? I mean, what do you...
no, meaning
Most people ain't singing chants and choral songs at church these days.
Of course not, but what I'm saying is the African American community, that was such a foundational part of their culture for a number of years, that
I think we
the
found
kind of
something
choir, what?
When I'm playing and trying to speak, my speaking gets bad. When you're playing and trying to speak, your playing gets bad. Because you've been holding
I
a
don't understand.
coherent conversation. You've just been walking into the
But I'm
walls for the
saying,
last.
why am I
Whereas
not
my
being able to
conversation
get-
gets non-coherent.
I can't get where I want to go though.
It's
is the
just where
problem.
we can't get. Go to where the green thingy
I
is.
am literally on top of the
No,
green.
you're not.
I am.
You're very close. You have to be on the other side of this.
Okay,
That's a major difference. Wait,
I'm just
and
gonna
then
saunter around.
yeah,
this,
saunter
like,
around.
Okay.
Oh. And then keep going. Now you're. Oh, did you see the big arrow? Okay, you're
in
gonna
the
tell me you
slightest.
didn't turn around and see the big arrow? Big, very
No.
bright, very large, very bright light from the sky.
No, I'm not seeing that. So
I
how
don't
am
know how
missing it?
you're not. Okay, you were literally staring directly into the neon lights of Zeus. Big right. It says here, land.
Where?
Land the plane. Do you not? Though it's not a natural light formation, this ain't Aurora Borealis up
Right
in
here?
here.
That arrow?
Land
What are you
the plane.
talking about? I mean it, dude. I'm seriously
Okay,
confused.
did you? Okay, but where would you assume you
'Cause
have to
this, to
go
me,
for this?
I'm
Like,
assuming
obviously,
in
you're
here.
assuming it. Well, yeah, but where is in here? What is the most effective means of entering a building?
Well, into like lower down, but I mean,
Perhaps through a door that many buildings have? Perhaps one we've been in before? So there we go. Now we know what matters more to you. You're more concerned about actually keeping the conversation proper
okay.
at the expense of...
My
I told
attire is getting ridiculous.
I said it. Okay, there's only two, I think. Well, this might be a slightly longer episode because I forgot about the Catwoman issue. We probably should have called it earlier, but
So yeah,
But-
talk about your exposure to jazz.
I don't have much. Fallout was about it.
See,
And
and
admittedly,
that's
it's-
such a big band,
Yes,
especially.
it is largely, but there's a couple jazz. There's some Nat King
Cook.
Cole. I don't think there's any Sam Cooke. There's Nat King Cole in those playlists as well. There's, trying to think if some of the other guys are on there. Bing's in there. He's
Bing
more of
Crosby is another. Okay,
he's more of a crooner than a jazz singer.
but see, I feel like it's the same classification.
yeah,
and
see,
it's-
that's my point. Is it's all similar.
No, you got a point. I forgot about Bing Crosby. He deserves some credit because he had some great.
He was the one honky who could sing.
Wow. No, I'm not saying that. Well, you look at
I like
To
how
a
you're.
lesser degree.
I'm not saying to
to a lesser degree.
All right, I might be saying it.
Louis Prima
I
is
thought you were
another.
going to talk about Louis Armstrong,
No,
and I was
no.
going to say I had news for
Louis
you.
Prima is another.
Oh, that is.
He's the guy who sings "Pennies from Heaven."
I thought
I'll
that
be
was
dead
Louis.
when you rascal you. No.
I thought Louis was Penny's Remedy.
Every time it rains, it rains. He's done it before,
Okay.
but the most iconic role probably that is he's done for the general public is that he's the King Louis from the Jungle Book.
Ah, well,
And
that's
so,
fascinating. I didn't know that.
But he is
You
a
gonna try it?
fantastic. But
You gonna try again, or we're
it's
going to call it
hardly-
here? We're at an hour 20. Do
But
we
it's
want to?
hardly. Let's go 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
It's hardly
All right,
something
bonus
where
for
you can
you
call him,
fellas.
You can hardly call him Caucasian because he's Latin American, to my understanding.
I thought, okay. I assumed he was.
Oh, do I seriously have to?
No, you got it. No, you're at the museum. You just got to get in the door.
I just gotta go. Okay. Okay.
I like it. Then,
I
yeah.
love how she just stopped. Like I'm in heels. It's all good.
Well, because yeah,
Is she in heels?
Yeah, I think so. Or like it's the boot kind of heels where it's not like stilettos, but they're still noticeably heels. Because Batman has an excuse. He does a little cape thing, and that's how he manages to fall great heights. But they had to be like, well, we can't take that functionality away, because otherwise all the players are going to fall off buildings thinking they can land. I don't know. Well, are we gonna finish this mission?
Well,
or are we gonna?
Yes, we are. Sorry.
Are you not okay?
So
the
go
problem
ahead
is
and-
I don't remember, and you've never played it, so this could be like another 20, 30-minute mission.
Well, I was speaking more in confidence more than I was in understanding of how long the mission
Well,
was.
because I don't remember is the problem. I thought it ended when we got back to our apartment. We might have to. Well, I guess technically we do need to record 2 parts for this anyways, because we're having to rush for this weekend. Not that this is going to matter to anyone else. So I guess we could just record
Break
it.
it.
We could just record this into a full 2 hour, and we'll just split it. That means we're already on the second episode, and we didn't even know. We'll have to split it somewhere else. I guess that buys us another 40 minutes to talk about music. Wow, that was quite a freeze frame. I don't think they thought about that.
Ready to the gods.
That was a little like that was that garden statue we were talking about in the Rio Universalis video.
Just what?
The one with the enema themed garden statues. Just use that as a model. And you gotta go, yeah.
So,
Ready to the gods.
have you not? That's another one of the.
I've never heard that used as a phrase.
But it's from Aussie Man reviews. It's
I
the
don't
guy
watch
that
him as much as you.
And what are you doing, you absolute turkey? I love him. I think he's hilarious.
Well, so
So-
Fallout led me to it, and that's about it. I haven't explored it much beyond. Like, I like Sam Cooke, and Harry Belafonte's fun. I'm not sure you'd call him
I
jazz,
don't know
though.
that I've explored him enough.
Banana Boat's a fun song. It's, to me, if I had elevator music for my brain, it would be Banana Boat.
Yeah, but is that jazz, really?
I don't know that it is. I'm
So,
not sure
there
what
go.
you'd call
What do
it.
you call elevator music? What's that?
Well,
classification?
generally, it's
Is
just
it
called elevator music. But then again, most elevator music doesn't actually have lyrics. Like the classic elevator music is "Girl from Ipanema," but it's usually
that's
lyricless.
basically jazz.
Well, yeah, but it's normally played purely instrumental, where it's like a saxophone doing the.
Just smack his face. Just.
Well, you could do that, but I don't know that you'd gain much from it. Someone's talking. I'm hearing voices.
I'm gonna just
I heard voices.
saunter down the stairs.
That is, I heard a good deal about a bat and a Catwoman and something about the Doctor Strange, but
Something about the fact that this was a bad idea to come in this way.
I don't think this is the only way you could have come in. It certainly is a bad idea to just tank knife hits. You're just gonna be like, yeah, slit me up. It's not like this. It's not like the suit's already damaged beyond repair. Just carve it right off. Looks like you're going to get an early Christmas present. Ay. Well,
So there you go. What
did
was,
we
what
conclude
other-
our folk music topic? I thought you had. See, it's Hush. We haven't done him since literally like episode 3.
What
That man is also jack beefed,
what other
or beef jacked if you prefer.
oh he does move.
Yeah, only when you come in though.
What other
I am about
artists have you particularly listened to within jazz?
not a lot.
Because clearly we've listened to different.
Well,
things.
because again, you've explored it far more deliberately. For me, it was just like I liked the music in Fallout, and so I've listened to some of it. But
What's funny is I actually don't like a lot of the more modern stuff. Like
more modern jazz,
so,
I feel like
so
jazz.
Natalie Cole
jazz kind of had its
hey,
day.
Hi.
You're
Natalie
still
Cole
taking them.
is great. Okay, why
Natalie,
Is
as in his actual daughter.
it... Yeah.
I've never listened to her much.
I don't understand this. Oh, way. I always get confused.
Away from the knife.
Well, but I'm saying that the way that they write that is very strange.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
not
It says away plus Y, which I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's not terribly helpful. I haven't listened to much. I keep saying Sam. Why? Nat King Cole is the only person I've deliberately looked up like, oh, I want to hear more of his songs. All the rest were just sort of, whoa, that was impressive. Were just sort of songs that I heard in Fallout and was like, ah, that one's nice, and then that's been it. I don't know. I'm not sure I can respond much beyond that.
Well, and I think really it kind of takes us into, and this is a genre that we won't spend even really hardly any time on, but the doo-wop kind of.
I am not going to spend
40s
any time on it because I don't know
vibe.
nothing about it.
I actually really appreciate that vibe, though. Like, it's almost like the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B kind of World War II era thing.
I think he's having a stroke. He's just stringing words together.
I'm pulling a John Madden, just mashing them like
Sardines.
sardines.
Boogie Woogie, 1942, doo-wop.
This is the place with the helpful doo-wop.
That didn't make any sense to me at all.
Okay, well, it's a
The
song.
closest I've gotten, you could probably call some of the Fallout stuff
Yeah,
doo-wop.
that's what I was saying. That.
Like, I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire probably is a doo-wop
Well,
song.
what about...
but if it is, it's a much more toned-down version.
What about Bioshock Infinite is very much that way.
Ooh!
And you listen
You've
to
gotten...
that quite a bit.
Oh, I have. Because that's a almost completely different... That's like if you fused folk and jazz.
It's a Faz.
Or a joke.
It's a Freddy Fazbear's music.
Like... because now the problem is... Well, but... I think a lot of the songs from those were also sort of the spirituals in a way. Like, Will the Circle Be Unbroken's a great song. That's most notably from that game. Trying to think of something else. I like that one. Old Time Religion's great, although it's not a...
that one's a fairly common...
Is it?
It's a fairly common religious kind of song.
Yeah, but I feel like the version most people are familiar with these days are...
Not the one.
Is not the one from the game, by far at all. You could technically pause if you had to. Okay. Alright. We're reaching the stage where my throat starts to hurt.
So anyway, any other musical genres that are worth...
None that I feel the need to really...
probably just slice this up.
No, we're going to go, are we not? We may as well go to the 2 hours
Sure,
and I'll
I'm
just
just
cut
saying,
it in
like,
half.
where are we going to... we've done a lot of random rambling about when we're going to cut it, so it's a bit...
Well, no, but we already have. We're talking to you from the past. You're all in the future. So I don't know where I'm going to cut this, but presumably it'll have been before now. Okay. I forgot what we were talking about. We had to pause for a second. We were on the subject of music. Is as specific as I can get?
I think we were approaching, like, hey, is there any other genre
Jazz.
specifically we want to cover? Because I just mentioned the whole doo-wop thing, and you mentioned the fact that I was apparently pulling a John Madden.
Well, because you had said, I forget what exactly, it was a sequence of words I hadn't heard before.
I allowed you to finally arrive at my train of thought by talking about Fallout.
Yeah. And then Bioshock, and we talked about some of those songs. And I mean, I would still call them folk because of the fact that I don't think they fit anywhere else.
It's definitely a folk and jazz fusion.
But see, like, would you call Will the Circle Be Unbroken you wouldn't call that a jazz song.
No, that's definitely a spiritual-ish.
But see, where is that its own category? Is that a subgenre of folk? Because I feel like if folk is just cultural music, religion counts as part of culture. Therefore, religious music would also theoretically be folk music.
Yeah, I get you. Fair point.
Maybe a subgenre then. Because, like, the other song I really like is... See, they're showing us all the stuff we haven't had the chance to do. I guess because the plot's over, they're just going to show us, like, here's what you could do for the rest of the game. Another song I really like is... What's it called? Is it called Down to the River to Pray? Or is that just the chorus?
Is it the "Oh sinners, let's go down"?
What's funny is every time you have heard of a song I'm referencing, you've heard of like some much more upbeat version of it. Like the same thing with Old Time Religion. I've only ever heard the one from Bioshock, which is like really old and slow. Are you gonna actually attack these fellas, or? But yes, it is that one. And I like is that anything but folk to you?
No, that's definitely folk.
And there's some. I actually feel like, or like Long Time Traveler's another good one.
Yeah.
They're all sort of, I mean, you could almost call them hymns in the way they're written because they're, again, spiritual, sort of religious songs. But they're also sung usually a cappella or with very simple musical stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if I had a reason for bringing that up. It just came to mind. Because I was listening to those today as well. I don't know. Did I ask you? Answered my depressing Yeah, you answered that about the depressing music that happens to be folk. I'm not sure what else. I mean, we've got a lot of genres on the thing. It's just not all of them are quite as distinct. Because, like, yes,
Well, and
there's
so,
a rock versus a metal, and but they're not that
I think
different.
we've
Where it's
actually
like the
made
rock is just the rock, and the metal's just the metal, and they're not one. They're on the same scale.
we've also
If you
made
push
the comment
rock
before
in
that-
intensity, it becomes metal at some point.
Right. Well, and that's actually a worthwhile argument to say that music should really just be something put on some sort of a scale.
I'm not sure it could be one spectrum. It's probably more like the intersecting cross spectrum, where it's like there's the left, right.
So you want to grid it like a proper engineer.
So like like on one end, left to right, there's metal, and it becomes rock as you go further back. Which I guess, if we're talking on a diagram here, if we call metal the far, well, first we have to define what the criteria would be. Intensity is what we're presuming for rock, because I would,
Sure.
as in musical intensity, not like subject
She
intensity.
absolutely could get up there. What are we talking about?
Well, she probably could, but the reason is why. Oh,
don't
are you
know.
going to tell me they didn't? Oh, they did. Okay. They're not attacking you though. They just think you're giving them a good show. They're going, whoa.
This Catwoman isn't
Some chick,
that bad.
some chick in a low slung onesie that's got a whole bunch of torn up sections just came in, started doing a routine on top of the platform. They're going, did the boss set this up? Is this like, did we do something, he's happy with? Is this our reward?
Your eternal reward. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
What was I
resist.
talking about? I've been derailed again. I'm not even the one playing and I still got derailed. I still don't have an excuse anymore. We're talking about what? Oh yes, right. The diagram of musical genres. But the question is, what if you just toned the intensity of rock down? What would you get?
You get
Because I mean, you'd
alternative, probably.
no, because alternative can be also intense. I don't think what makes alternative is the intensity.
Well, then what makes alternative?
Well, because I don't know. Because my thought is like there's metal, which is like the super hard, fast drums and really deep chugging sort of rhythm, and then you just turn it back to rock, and it's like yes, there's the drums and the rhythm, but it's not quite as heavy. And then you start to get to the rockabilly, where it's a little more like it's more the, I don't know what's the word. Rockabilly is
No, that's a fairly
where it's like where it's a little more, Beach Boysy. And then once how much further do you go from there?
Well, then you go back to again the.
Must have been from the
Hey guys, can you come on up here? Hi.
You mean
I'm
you get to
giving
like
you a bit
BB
of a-
King after a while, but then where did is that
Well,
the beginning
and that's
or does
the
it?
beginning of jazz and kind of the more of the.
So you think it's
croonery.
jazz? You think if you were to push jazz incrementally, it would become slowly more and more towards rock?
Again, like I
All right,
think
well,
early
blues has
rock,
to come in
early
there.
rock.
Blues-
Yes, because
blues is
but blues
considered
was born
the-
out of jazz, arguably.
Sure. So arguably, then it's jazz becomes blues, becomes rockabilly, becomes rock, becomes hard rock, becomes metal.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's one.
All roads lead to metal.
That's one axis, but what's the other axis? Because folk doesn't fit anywhere. I mean, it's on the jazz side, but it has to go up or down, not side to side.
Whoa! Did you see that?
She's
weird
still doing the
spin?
route. She's doing the routine still. Well, there you go. You're getting it. Because that knife thing's tricky. What was that, Catwoman? I think she's practicing her David Blaine. But so then, well, because the problem is that there is such a thing as like folk metal, which I have no clue where that throws the whole thing off.
Yeah, but some of those are like I'm trying to. Be
Some of them,
genre.
some of them make sense though. Now classical, where's classical? Classical's got to be on the up down. Because classical can be very intense, but it can also
own thing.
no
'cause
classical can 'cause
Classical was like, this is the first time we've ever seen an instrument.
but no, because classical music can be both intense and soft, meaning it can occupy the x. We'll call it the x-axis. I'm gonna actually have to like diagram this whenever we mention it on the.
The bottom line is, we're gonna put a graph that this engineer
We're gonna
is
solve
going to make.
all discrepancies here and now. My point is,
Feel free to use it in the future.
the x-axis clearly represents the intensity.
How do I do that? That was just a weird approach.
You have to run and then hold the crouch button at the end.
One
Is the right trigger. You have to run first. Hold A.
I forgot about that.
You actually probably could do that. I don't think Batman can do that. What? You're telling me she can't? You mean to tell me she couldn't? She wasn't even as tall.
Okay.
So she has to do it in an extra way.
In an extra way.
Oh, wait, but that's for Batman. You don't need to go down there.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a Batman trophy.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Whoa! That was a physics. You, like, shifted mid-slide. That wouldn't have been possible.
Alright.
Because classical music can be both on the light side and the really intense. So that means the only thing it can be, it has to go on the y-axis up and down. But the question is, what does that define? If intensity is one axis, what's the other axis that defines music? What are you looking for now?
I'm kind of looking for where I'm supposed to be.
Well, a door. Oh my, a door.
But I mean...
You're looking for your equipment's all we know. I think... Yeah, so you basically have to retrace Batman steps, where you're going to have to go through the same fight, and you've got to... Because Two-Face took over...
all of it?
Not all of it, I think.
I was about to say...
But Two-Face... Oh boy, we might have to trade off for this.
So it's all of it.
Because Two-Face... I remember this now. Two-Face took over the museum after Penguin was... I forget what happened to Penguin, but after whatever happened to Penguin happened. I'm going to grab another soda. I am on my, I believe, 6th dose of caffeine today.
As much as I am not the most adept at playing Batman,
You're better
again I say...
You're better at Catwoman.
It does
Which
not,
doesn't make sense because...
It's the same mechanics. I know, it's silly, but just something about the...
Something about the suit.
Something about the suit makes me feel powerful.
Wow. Help me out here. What is the y-axis of the musical genre spectrum?
Is it the types of instruments?
No.
Maybe because classical could be the strings and the...
Yeah, but there's strings in metal. I mean, there's strings in folk music.
Again,
where does...
Well, I suppose that's true.
Would it have to be subject matter?
No, that wouldn't work because, again, we've already talked about the fact that folk covers a wide swath of all kinds of stuff.
I don't know.
We'll think about it.
Give us your comments.
Is it the tone quality of the voice?
No, because not all of it has voices even. What would you... Because really you have to think about it as two separate defining factors of a musical style.
Nope, that didn't work.
You slid not quite right, and then you got caught. You got up to the mid torso, and it got caught on something, on two somethings.
Wow.
All right. Well, now that we've been demonetized again, I don't know. Do you have a thought? Because it's honestly, I'm not sure. If you had to define two separate aspects of a musical style, I think the rhythmic intensity is part of it.
Yeah, that's a huge...
But I'm not sure what else. Because, like, melody, it can't just be melody, because that can be... You can have wild variations. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm not going to be much help at this.
Perhaps this is really just a flawed concept from the beginning. You can tell we're in our midpoint dip because I'm topping up on caffeine and having a quick snack. While this is how I felt during the Joker fight.
That's probably true. You're like, yeah, talk about some more topics because I can't do it.
Well, should we shift topics totally, or are we done? I don't think. Give us a comment for what you think the y-axis of the musical graph can be, because I don't think
we're gonna get there right now.
I don't know. I don't even think that it's probably not even a wise concept. Like, it probably is limited, even in its conception. So,
follow me on this.
Follow me.
Is
that a restaurant?
Not use, but is it like application? Like, for instance, classical...
Emotional? Dark versus light?
No, but I mean...
Because there's light and dark metal.
Yes, but I mean, classical, you have like it's at parties, it's more socially, that's kind of the point.
But that's not always
Then
true. You can listen to classical
movies.
music like in your office while you're reading something. It can be.
Yeah.
I think I might be honest on with the light versus dark mood perhaps.
Yeah.
Rhythmic intensity and mood. But the problem is, like we said with folk music, that can occupy. Folk music is both the top and the bottom, so it's a sphere instead of a cube.
Well, and certain things are going to be more broad in width than others.
Some music is wider than others.
Is wider than others. Wider, not shorter.
I don't know. Well, have we satisfied our consciences about how poorly we covered this earlier?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we did.
feel good.
I feel like I've gotten everything I wanted to say out.
I feel great. I feel bad.
I've gotten to nerd out about folk music because I was listening to it today. Oh, minor rant. Not rant, but the soapbox is coming out. We're already late to this party because it happened a while back. You maybe want to take turns?
Well, yeah, if you want to try, that's fine.
Judgment is...
I'm not terribly offended by that at all.
Okay, well, I didn't want to be like, let me give it over. Give over. I've forgotten again. Every time I hold this in my hand, my mind just is like instant half capacity.
It's a mind wipe.
That, and then every time I catch a look at that shoulder blade.
Wow.
I'm teasing.
It's like a drop shoulder, but not quite.
I'm just, it's why schools need to have shoulder dress codes. We're not going to comment on that. Hi, fellas. You know, it's odd that they would immediately start attacking me. You'd think that they'd be a little like, hi, what are you doing here? That thing bounced off my head.
You're not getting out of here.
Okay. Whoa. Okay, I'll admit that one was pretty cool. That was great.
Legit moves, I'm telling you.
I need to use more of her gadgets. I also
moves.
forget. I don't think she's got those. She's got something else though. Seriously, I was literally in the middle, and then it went away when I picked this up. We're talking about. Oh yes, my mini rant. And again, it's late. We're late to the party, but like the whole Wellerman song was a big deal a while back.
That bothered me. You know
It
why?
didn't bother me because it's a great song, but I do think what you mean by that is it became a fad, and then it was like, oh, people started talking about like this, like the sea shanty folk music, and then it just went away.
Well, it went
and I'm
away,
like, I don't
and
think
then
most
people acted like, oh, yeah, we're on the ground level of that. I'm like,
yeah, because
no,
some people were like, oh,
no,
we
you
like,
wouldn't.
No, you don't. I like shanty music.
No, you don't.
Well, because I think
It's
the problem
kind
is...
of even a disgrace to the Longest Johns, because I'm sure they didn't want to just be a weird fad. I mean...
Yeah, but then again, it's also probably the most publicity they've ever gotten.
That's true. However, their music is great if you listen to their broader stuff.
The problem is the shanty... I mean, we're already talking about folk music is a genre that's not very well... It's not very widely admired these days. And then the shanty music genre is like a totally niche version even of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're talking about a very small but usually somewhat dedicated audience. So they probably got the most publicity they've ever got out of that becoming a fad.
Like, seriously.
Don't comment on the...
I may be able to fit into those spandex.
I'm not going to comment on that.
I was not meaning it that way.
Well,
you just need to calm yourself down.
Do you need to take a cold shower?
That didn't come out right.
Well, you did say it that way.
I think it's funny that, and the joke has been made, the trope has been made that, like, you see this even in MMOs where it's like, oh, you just got the most, like, the highest ranking armor in your class or whatever, and as a man it's like this big beefy chest plate and whatever.
And as a woman it's like a steel bikini, which would presumably do more damage to you than any weapon you could encounter. Yes, that's been an established trope. But what I was talking about, we're talking about the Wellerman's a good song, and I'm not like crazy about the Longest Johns. There's other shanty groups I like more.
That's true.
But they deserve. It's a good song, and I think they did write it.
They did.
So they have, props for that. But my only issue is it's just like it became. I don't like when things become fads just because they're fads. If someone was like, "Hey, I heard this because it was a popular thing," I'm still taking turns. I heard this because it was popular, and then it actually genuinely got me into this music, and now I listen to other stuff, it's like, well then great. I'm glad to have another person who likes this, because it is such a small community. But if it was just like, yeah, this song's great, and then I listen to like a couple others, and then that's it.
Well,
Then it's like, okay, that's like saying,
that say
yeah, I
more
heard a
about-
ska song once. I'm really into ska. It's like just because you heard it once and like one song does not qualify as like, oh, I'm into this.
Yeah, and then again, you get back to the whole fandom thing where you go, are you a fan or are you just some weird
Or are you a
passerby?
fan of being a fan? That's the real meta.
Ooh, that's it, yeah.
It's where it's like, did you just need something to be a fan about that made you interesting? This has turned into a harsh, withering criticism, apparently. Is your life just so meaningless you needed something to cling to? But is it? Seriously.
We want to know.
Is it? Seriously, my eyeballs aren't real. Ah, no, that's a reference. You didn't even catch that reference, did you?
I don't know that I'm catching much of anything right now.
Like, yeah, other than chairs to the back of the head. I don't know. My thought is if it's... I don't want to be like, a hipster's like, oh, I was into it before, it's cool. If you genuinely are like, oh, I never heard this and now I like it, then awesome. But if it was just like, yeah, I heard this one song and I like this one song and that's it, then it's like, well, okay, sure. Go back to the rest of your music. You took two.
I didn't take two. That was one take.
I could have sworn. Okay, fine.
No,
Take another.
I don't care. Go.
So yeah, that was my minor rant because I heard that song and it was on my playlist, and I was like, yeah, it was just something worth commenting on. You should branch out. If you liked that song, listen to some others. It was a good shanty group.
But are you? Is it a bitter diatribe to the fact that people aren't getting into
the fact
genre
that I already
we
called.
love? I mean,
well, no, because I don't need other people to like the stuff I like. I'm fine with it being a niche thing because that's the nature of it's not going to appeal to everyone because it's a very unusual style. So I'm not expecting it to get big.
The thing that I take issue with is when people act like they are fans of something when they've literally only listened to one thing.
Well, yeah, and that's where it's kind of like, okay, you just clearly needed something to grab.
It's like when
you just needed a personality.
It's like when people go, I'm a fan of Nirvana. It's like, yeah, okay, name one song.
Well, or actually, no, the better question is name another song.
Yeah, exactly.
Because usually they can name one. I don't know. We probably sound like fuddy-duddies. We're just bitter. But the fact of the matter is, it's just... I don't know. I do think there's a degree to which people were like, oh, I'm going to be about this. Because I went through that stage, too. Everyone, when you're young, usually it's high school students because it got popular on TikTok. Pretty sure only middle schoolers are allowed to use that these days. But it's, I don't know. If you genuinely like it, then listen to other stuff. But if you're just liking it because everyone likes it, and then in 2 months you're gonna like what's next, then just keep moving. I don't know. The best joke I ever heard on that subject, not on the music subject, but just in general, it was actually from Let's Drown Out, I think. Or it might have even been from the podcast they did before that, because we were talking about like people who get like really into motorcycles. Not like, oh, I ride a motorcycle, but like, I'm into motorcycles. And it's a little like, they made the comment, I think it was Gabe, the other guy, who made the comment once that I just thought was like so harshly cut to the quick. He was like, man, wouldn't it be convenient to drive around town on the only interesting part of your personality?
Wow.
And I was like, whoa!
That
Shots fired!
Third-degree burn right away.
Like, ouch! I'm not even one of those guys and I hurt for that. But yeah, I think that there's some people who are just like that, where it's like, oh, I just needed something to make me interesting, so I like the Wellerman.
Yeah, exactly.
And you. Now, okay, I'm getting off the soapbox. I promise. Well, have we mined out the music topic fully? I think we did a good job. I think we covered our bases. And we got about another couple minutes. I don't know if we're going to finish this Catwoman segment. All I swear we have to do is find her stuff. Like, Two-Face has got it somewhere. I don't think that there's much more beyond that.
And what's she going to do? Hey, give me back my stuff.
Wait
okay.
up.
Guys,
He's
wait
looking...
up.
He looks wrong.
I feel like there's
Whoop.
an actor that needs to just play him, like an obvious one.
Well,
and
that
I
would...
can't-
You'd have to be an actor if he's going to play him.
No, I'm saying
You just hired
that-
a hobo off the
I'm
street.
saying if it goes back to that screen cap, I'll show you what I mean, because there's an actor that looks an awful lot like that guy.
Well, okay. I'm not sure who you'd be thinking of. I'm sure there's plenty.
It's the guy.
It's the guy.
What's he in?
He's the guy.
I'm the guy.
You're not the guy. I'm the guy. That's such a bizarre movie.
It's more than bizarre. It's one of the trashiest movies ever. Still
Yeah.
to this day, in my lifetime, I have never watched a worse movie.
Well, you still haven't seen Next, clearly.
What?
It was the Nicolas Cage movie we talked about last time.
Oh yeah, I still haven't watched.
Don't, please. Spare yourself. But anyways, should we wildly change subject in the short
I
time we
don't know
have?
that we could cover any
We don't
other
need
subject
to.
in 9 minutes.
Well, we don't need to fully cover. We could just continue. You just play through. Or, I don't know. You have any news, fluff, minor topics? I don't want this to become another Joker fight where it just takes us endless hours and ages. Ages and endless hours.
I'm gonna do a different song for this one. Baby, you're a firework.
See, when you first said that, I thought you were going to say, "Baby, you light up my world like no Do you have any opinions on pop music? Did we talk about that? Problem is, I can't remember what we did talk about and what we didn't. I think that was
have
one of the
changed
things.
my opinion on pop music
Have
because
you?
for a while I thought no pop music is good.
Yeah, well...
And by and large, that's true.
Well, the problem is pop
But-
music means nothing. It literally means
Exactly.
music that's popular. And that's like... What does that mean?
even mean? Yeah.
Because rock used to be pop music. There's actually an interesting video about the day. There's a guy who does a statistical analysis of when rock truly died, and it was something like, and his rationality for it. It was the first time that all 100 songs on the Billboard Top 100, none of them was a rock song, and I think that happened for the first time in like 2000 something. It's like it was like the early 2000s was the first time not a single rock song made it to the top 100. Which, I mean, I'm sure you could argue that that's not the best metric, but it is somewhat, considering that in the 80s, everything on the top 100 was a rock song. So it's just like, it means nothing. Because the problem is, what would you call what is called pop these days? Would you call it, is it like R&B? Is it, I don't know, something else? Rap's probably a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of rap on the top 100 probably, but I don't think it all is. Like, what would you call Taylor Swift other than pop?
Yeah, she's
Like,
pop.
it doesn't have much, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means she's popular. What is it? What stylistically is it? Because it's not hip-hop. Some pop is hip-hop. But not all hip-hop is pop.
Bop. Beep
Beep
boop
boop bop! I don't know. What do you call Taylor
Beep boop
Swift?
boop bop.
Boop boop beep boop boop bop. Yeah. You don't have an answer to that?
What do you call Taylor Swift?
Call her
Confused.
hot trash is what I don't mean to be.
She used to be good, and then
Because she used to write her own
ended
music
up being
and
a sellout.
yeah, kinda.
It's what could have happened to John Mayer, but didn't.
You really got a man crush for that fella, don't
I don't
you?
have a man crush for him.
You bring him up an awful lot.
I respect his music a great deal. Yes.
Okay, so man crush.
Okay.
I don't know, because I mean, unless maybe pop used to mean that, and now it's I feel like nowadays it probably has taken on its own genre classification.
Which is,
But even then, I'm not sure what you'd call it. Because,
well, it's kind of. I mean, it's a bit of the equivalent of.
I mean, what would you say defines it? It's usually electronic based, meaning, keyboards primarily, or sequencers and machines
Sequencers,
rather
yeah.
than actual instruments usually.
And then very much a single or primary vocalist that carries the.
Yeah, and I think they're not to be, upper crusty about it, but I think they are somewhat defined by their simplicity.
Yes, it's
in style
It's a bit
and
of a 2, like a 1 2, like a 1 4 5 type. Of
yeah,
rhythm.
they have they're very similar. Usually not with a lot of complexity or much of interest. I don't know. We're talking crap about it. You say you've changed your tune. I would say I have too, but not a whole lot. So who do you like?
Well,
'Cause that might define-
you already obviously
Well, I don't-
mentioned the one that I say a lot,
dying.
but I'm gonna say it again because that's just what it is. John Mayer, I think, is great. I would
But is
not
he pop,
classify.
though?
I was about to say I would not classify him as pop anymore. He was,
Was he ever? I never
Yeah,
heard
he
him
was.
when he was, if he was.
but I would say nowadays, I don't know that there's anybody. I came across again the Natalie Taylor. You know, she I appreciated. But then you're obviously a fan of Halsey, but I don't know if that's necessarily.
I
pop.
don't know what... I feel like it has to be, but it's probably... Because what is R&B? That's the only one that I have heard of that has a genre classification.
Because Labyrinth I love.
Because isn't it rhythm and bass is what R&B stands for?
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
No, I'm fairly comfortable.
Because I feel like not all pop is that. Because Halsey's a little bit more in the... There's usually more going on, because I think she actually is a better composer. Like, there's more interesting dynamic in the music other than just, we're going to play 4 chords over a drum machine. Like, it actually has some proper composition to it. So I don't know. You might call her rhythm and bass. I have no clue. She's not really like electronica or anything like that. I don't know. She might even skew more into hip hop than the plain pop.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Then again, this is not my genre where I am at home, so I don't know. But I do like her because I think the one thing, as I said, I can appreciate any music that's done well, and I feel like in pop, the only people I like in pop are the people I feel are fairly genuine about it. Where it's like they actually do write their own music and they have a certain degree of compositional skill. Like, usually they play an instrument, I feel is kind of necessary. If you're going to write your own songs.
I feel like you just don't know his...
You showed me that one song that I like, but I've never heard anything else.
Admittedly, he's very much an elevatory type.
Yeah, it's a little more of the bluesy, not...
It's not got a lot of...
Boy.
I don't know that I would say it's not
Turns.
got a lot of substance. It's just a little
wouldn't
bit
say that.
faffy.
Well, okay. What is faffy but lacking substance? You gonna define that? Because I've never heard it defined separately.
I mean, there's a lot of filler. It's not... It's not like folk is very...
That was loud. I hope that didn't pick up. Probably did.
Folk is very...
If this fight takes too long,
what's
I
the
probably
word I'm
am just
looking
going to
for?
edit it out. We're not going to do what we did with the Joker where it's 3 episodes.
No. I'm looking for a word. I mean, it's not pretentious. It doesn't try too hard. Folk.
It just doesn't try.
Right.
Oh, no, folk. I thought you were still talking about John Mayer.
No, but I'm saying with John Mayer...
He tries.
He's got the narrative there, but it's very much like he really makes it... He tries to make it sound poetic.
Well, but I don't... The one song you showed me, I feel like is quite poetic,
Which
actually. Is it the Forever in Me or whatever?
Yeah, you're
I
gonna
like
look for
that
me,
one.
yeah.
That's actually, I think, poetically... The reason I like that one is mostly poetic rather than musical.
Right.
And I find with pop people, that generally is what I am drawn to.
Yes.
Because I'm not actually that picky about lyricism and meaning when it comes to rock and metal and stuff, mostly because the music is more compelling to me. Whereas because pop music isn't that compelling, the lyrics are the only thing that can really grab it, which is probably why Halsey is someone I like. Because you can tell that those were songs written by someone who's actually gone through these kinds of things.
The question is pop the thing you listen to when you're upset?
Certainly not. I mean...
Certainly not.
Like, what does that mean?
Okay.
What does that mean? I don't know what you mean even by
mean,
that.
you
What?
were
I was
talking
in the
about,
middle
like,
of a
sad
combo.
songs.
Whoa!
Oh.
He thinks he's getting lucky. He thought he was
He's
getting
up
the
on that
treat.
to get lucky.
That song, see, that's the kind of song where I'm going like Daft Punk was a legend for years in the techno.
Okay, who does he look like?
I don't know.
It's
Young Jeremy Irons.
there's a particular actor I'm thinking of, and
I don't know.
place him.
So yeah, well, who's changed your mind? You said you had a change of mind. So who did it?
What's that? The chick.
The chick. There's a lot of chicks in pop these days.
I can never remember her name, which is sad. I feel bad. Not Halsey, but the other.
Phoebe?
No.
No, that's the only two female pop artists. I
No,
listen
you
to
have
much.
another. It's on the alternative, maybe, but it's.
You sure it's not BB?
No, it's not BB.
Okay.
It's.
I don't have. Okay, pop. I don't have. There's. Hey, my pop playlist is not very developed, and it's largely Halsey and BB. And I mean, there's probably a couple one-offs.
Billie Eilish.
There's like 2 songs on that. So
I'm
you're
just
gonna...
saying. I think that she probably has because she's pop, but she's still got that.
Yeah, she's fairly niche even for pop.
To be
and again, she's genuine
profound.
about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And admittedly, I'm not overly fond of... What I find is a lot of her stuff that is the more popular is the stuff I'm not that big into.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's usually the more upbeat and a little less...
Well, I feel that way about like Billy Joel's stuff too, though. Like a lot of his like more popular stuff are ones that I'm like, I could take it or leave it, but
Maybe.
I'm more a fan of his more.
Well, because the
serious
one
stuff.
song that changed my mind, because I used to have... Oh, we never even talked about Django this whole time.
Oh, well, there you go.
I was so upset by that, I just let those 3 cards just bash me into bits. I've lost half my health, which means we're not going to get through this. Chairs from heaven. That chair came not from the room, but from the sky.
Every time they throw those chairs, they ran from heaven.
I can't do the knife things very well. I'm just doing terribly at this. Because I used to have... You talked about how Pandora used to be the king of the streaming services.
Which is because it was the only thing at the time.
Back in the time, yeah. But I used to live in Europe, where Pandora was not allowed for some reason. I don't know why Pandora was limited like that. But I had to find a knockoff, and it was called Django. And I have it to this day, because it's better than Pandora by far. Primarily because there are no skip limits. You can skip music as much as you want.
That alone was the deciding factor for me.
And they do have ads, but the ads are for other musicians. Musicians will pay to have their songs played as basically a form of market testing, where people will say, oh, you vote on this song when it pops up. And that's where I'm like, I am perfectly content to vote on... Because it's like the whole point of me listening to this is to find music like the stuff I like. So if you show me someone I've never heard of, then I'll be happy to give you feedback on that. Because that's the whole point of why I'm here. But anyways, I was using that. And literally, I have some people where it's like Taylor Swift is almost an immediate... Don't play this again for me. I'm like, just no. I don't want to deal with that. And Billie used to be on that list until the song... called When the Party's Over.
Yeah.
Which was completely unlike anything I had heard of hers. And because it is much more mellow, and it's almost a cappella. There's definitely like a synth bass, but it's in the background. And most of it is a cappella, and I was like, okay, I clearly misjudged this person. Because this is actually quite compositionally advanced.
Complex, yeah, exactly.
So that was the one where I was like, okay. And there's I think some of the poetry in it is very good too.
Yeah, exactly.
So that admittedly, I mean, I was already obviously into pop by that time because I had it on the Django thing, but that I can see how you would have thought that would change your mind. But yeah.
I think when pop started to become emotive again is when I started listening to it again, because there was a time it was glorified house music. It was like nothing short of like super electronica with like let's party, let's party. It's like, who freaking cares?
Well, but then again, the whole let's party attitude, that's part of why pop exists. There's pop country. there's let's party music in the country
Yeah,
genre.
you got a point.
So it's like I think that's more just a disease of
A disease. It's
that's
a
a disease
cancer
of the market where you're going. There's going to be some songs that literally no one listens to except at parties, and generally they're trash.
They listen at parties.
And people's listen.
And people's may know.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know that that's.
I hate this room and all of the men that are in it.
I hate this room and the men in it. I'm not gonna go where I thought I could go.
What?
Don't go where I can't follow. I'm trying to.
Ooh, that was a move.
That was a very good move. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I'm not at like the worst of health.
I still really appreciate the way that this game portrays martial arts.
Yes.
Because even with Catwoman, which again her feats
Well,
are rather dramatic.
Well,
it's-
certainly more.
the
they
mechanic,
stretch
the body
plausibility more than
mechanics are
Batman.
still make sense though.
Well, the physics don't as much. The body
physi-
mechanics maybe. The physics are still somewhat lacking. Okay, forget about the door dudes, the shield dudes, whatever you want to call them, because they're the ones I can't deflect. I thought I was doing better, and I'm still not gonna. The question is, do we edit it out now, or do we just end the episode now and not start next time until after we finish it?
I'd say let's do the latter.
Which is what? You
Start
can't
the
be
next-
throwing those kinds of concepts around when I'm on my 6th dose of caffeine.
Start the next episode with it being done.
Okay. Well,
So-
then we're at
Next time.
next time. Are we done with the music? Are we going to talk about music next time? We probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
Let's let
we've
the
covered
horse,
music.
recover some strength before we start beating it again.
But seriously, listen to music. Try not to box yourself
That
in.
feels very much like we're aliens trying to listen to music. It'll help you relate with your fellow humans. We advocate the listening of music and the reading of literature.
Literature.
Anyway, next time we'll talk about something else. Maybe. Who can say?
Probably not.
Probably something worse.